The NBA is terrified of this Houston Rockets team after coming off of a huge victory against one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. We gave you the full breakdown of this very intense performance from this team and this very intense interaction between Jabari Smith and Naquan Tomlin. All this right here on Rockets Digest. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and we appreciate you joining us as always. As the Houston Rockets came off a huge win today against the Cleveland Cavaliers, another primetime game for this Rockets squad. They're now 10-3 on the season, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are currently the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. And what this game just kind of proves to me, and what Jace said in our chat just a while ago, is that the East is not looking very great. The Rockets can beat whoever comes out of the East if they can get past the Western Conference Finals. The Thunder and the Nuggets are definitely teams to watch out for, but it looks like the Rockets are the real deal this year in that they can take on pretty much any team that comes their way. Of course, you had the overtime loss against the Thunder early on in the season, and you did have that very good Pistons team. It seems like now was their second loss on the year, but this Rockets team is trending upward. Let's take a look at the stats for today. Kevin Durant had himself a pretty good night, I would say. He's 20 points of the game, shooting 33%. Not exactly where we want him to be, especially at three-point land, going 1 for 6 on the day. But nevertheless, he had a +6 in terms of his plus-minus, played 37 minutes. Did a solid job of getting us a basket when we absolutely needed it. There was a lot of key times, key areas where he was able to do just that and kind of silence any sort of momentum that Cleveland had. Jabari Smith Jr. had himself a pretty okay game, 14 points. Steven Adams did 6 points, but look at that, 6 offensive rebounds for Steven Adams. If you had a dime for every single time that the commentator was like, another offensive rebound, the amount of times he said offensive rebound in this game was a bunch. I would tell you exactly how many offense. He has 16 offensive rebounds for the Houston Rockets. That is their specialty this year. When you consider their length and who they have on the court, Alperen Şengün, Alperen Thompson, Steven Adams, who can all get these. Kevin Durant, who's 6'10", who can get all these types of rebounds. That is a key strength of this team that showed out tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And Alperen Şengün had himself a great game. He was the MVP of this game. 28 points on 10 for 17 shooting, 8 for 10 from the three-point line. Now, it didn't count, but he got postered. He absolutely did. It didn't count. It was a charge. It was a great charge. He drew such a great charge. He made Jared Allen's hand come directly down into his face, and he did that all on purpose. So no poster for Alperen Şengün, actually. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. We saw him give a bit of a chuckle over there on the bench. And so the Rockets, again, come out with a very, very big win. And special shout out to Aaron Holiday, who scored, most if not all his points in the fourth quarter, came alive and really closed this game out for the Cleveland Cavaliers, who had themselves a really, really good third quarter and kind of brought them back within striking distance of the Rockets. I never felt like it was much of a threat. The crowd was getting hot. The arena was bumping, but at the same time, Aaron Holiday, of all people, was the one to kind of help shut that down, along with Şengün, along with Kevin Durant. But Aaron Holiday had himself an amazing fourth quarter. And just, again, this is why you have veterans on the team. This is why you re-sign these guys and keep them there for moments like this. We all know it's going to happen. These are very important players that kind of help fill out your team, and that is exactly what Aaron Holiday was tonight for the Houston Rockets. And another, again, Reed Sheppard, he kind of dwindled down in the second half, but his first half was exactly what we wanted it to be. He came out just firing. He was not holding back on his shots. He had, I believe, 2 threes as soon as he entered in the first quarter. Had himself quite a game. It kind of dwindled out there again in the second half, but overall, this team, from Reed Sheppard to Kevin Durant to Alperen Thompson, everyone, with the exception of Jae'Sean Tate, who played 2 minutes towards the end, were either 0 or above in terms of plus minus. You see Jabari Smith Jr. with a +10, +6 for Steven Adams, Kevin Durant a +6 as well, and so this is a constant trend we're seeing with these wins, right? Everyone is in the plus of their game. There's not really a guy who's kind of like dwindling or hurting this team with him being in the game. All these players are contributing very, very fairly and very well for this Rockets team. Now, here's a look at the standings as they currently are. Some of these are subject to be updated. I believe the Thunder are about to come up with another win, but that will keep them at one loss. The Rockets and the Nuggets tied right now for second and third. Rockets kind of have that advantage, second right now in second seat. But this is exactly where the Rockets need to be, right? This is where they want. They want to be in striking distance for the Thunder. We all know that home court advantage is going to be very, very important come playoff time. Yes, we are still a long, long way from that, but to maintain this kind of striking distance with the Thunder can help secure home court advantage throughout the entire thing. And this is where it all begins, right? It's how you start your season, so that way you don't have to play catch up and you're trying to come back, 5-6 games against a really, really good Thunder team who is not going to lose a lot this season. And hopefully the Rockets don't lose as much as well to be able to contend for that first seed. So you have the Thunder, the Rockets, the Nuggets, and then you have the Lakers and the Spurs, a game right behind them. The Timberwolves, Suns, Warriors, Trailblazers, who are having themselves not a terrible year, an okay year for them so far. Jazz, Clippers, Grizzlies, and so on and so forth. The Mavericks are probably down there somewhere as well. But this team is in a prime position, and there was a bit of a weird interaction between Naquan Tomlin and Jabari Smith Jr. that kind of helps kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, or at least for that quarter for the Rockets. Is kind of had, it was entertaining to watch, but nothing that was too crazy. It ended up with a double technical foul, and with Tomlin shooting some free throws, missed one, made the other, and so nothing much really came about this. But at the same time, it's good to kind of see these guys kind of stand up for themselves, and there's camaraderie when it comes to these things. You saw it with the Alperen Şengün when he took that amazing defensive foul, when he planned that totally by himself. You saw him laughing on the bench. You saw everyone kind of giggling around, knowing that did not count, and thankfully it did not. It did not count. It did not count. But this Houston Rockets squad is looking very, very good, and they're on the beginning of a road trip. This is a great start to that road trip. You beat the third seed in the East. This is one of the better teams in the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers are one of those teams that are projected to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? It's them, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Detroit Pistons, the New York Knicks, who can all kind of contend for that spot. And so beating the good teams is what solidifies the Rockets as being an actual threat in the West. Yes, on paper, you have Amen Thompson, you have Kevin Durant, you have all these really, really good guys, but is it going to work out? There was questions whether or not, Fred VanVleet playing or not was going to affect this team, but Reed Shepherd has stepped up. The offensive rebounds have continued for this team, and KD is playing some of his best basketball at age, 37, 38, however old he is. And Alperen Şengün is proving why he's one of the best players in basketball right now. All game they were comparing him to Nikola Jokic and how he can do so many things on the basketball court. And he absolutely can. But there's a certain flair that Şengün does it for. And he's, and no doubt in my mind, going to be an all-star this season for the second time in his career. And he is just getting better and better and better. And I love to see the hustle and the aggressiveness that he has been putting out on display in these first, 14 games of the season, and hope that he can continue to do that in these future games. But that is kind of the takeaways I had for this game, that this team is a team that is prime for a playoff run. We've beat already a lot of the really good teams in this league, and hopefully that trend can continue on this very important road trip. It's all about road wins are very, very important, and we're going to see how these kind of guys can adapt to this kind of situation. And, some playoff atmosphere tonight. That Cleveland Cavaliers crowd was kind of, searching for something to kind of latch onto. The Cavs struggled to shoot the ball in the first half. Much credit to the Houston Rockets defense. They were outstanding, forcing so many turnovers, especially in that first quarter. The Rockets could not have asked for a better start. I believe they scored north of 30 points in the first quarter, possibly 40 if I'm not mistaken. And so they had themselves a great start to the game and a great end to the game, and that is what really matters for this team, starts and ends, and that is what's going to push them forward into making it a deep playoff run, and even the regular season to just contend with the Oklahoma City Thunder in their games to fight for that 1 seed. That is my thoughts for this team. Let me know in the comments if you have any, observations of how this team played today and things that you would like to see more of, something that you would like to see Ime Udoka kind of implement within the team. But again, a special shout out to Aaron Holiday, who had himself a huge fourth quarter and was able to close this one out for the team. This was a great team win. Everyone's contributing to the team's success, and that was the plan heading into the season, and that was exactly what we needed to happen tonight to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers on their throwback jersey night. And so that wraps it up here on Rockets Digest. If you have made it to the end of the video, that tells me you're a true Rockets fan. Go ahead and subscribe down below. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Donovan Ricondo, and will you take care.